Excellent!
What's up, guys? Steve here from Gamers Nexus, bringing you the hard-hitting tech content here from CES 28.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'll leave.
Hey guys, this is the Gigabyte X9 laptop. So we just took it apart. I think this is one of the sort of handmade prototypes, which makes it a bit cool because you can still see engineering marks all over the boards, and there's some tape in places that obviously won't be there in the final models. But we like looking at stuff like that at CES because it gives you a better idea of how the actual development went for the product. Before that, this coverage is brought to you by Thermaltake and the Flow liquid cooler. The Flow is a 360mm radiator with 3 Ring RGB LED fans. You can program the fans for custom lighting through software, and then of course benefit from the larger radiator size in cooling performance. Learn more at the link in the description below. The reason we took this one apart is just because the cooling solution is kind of unique. It's a 4-fan cooling solution. They are all radial fans, so there are 4 blower fans basically, 2 in the opposing corners towards the back of the laptop, and then 2 on the top of the laptop. And because they're blower fans, anywhere obviously the fan blades are exposed, that's your intake. There's ventilation here on the panel, as you can see there in the eagle shape or whatever that is. So there's your intake. Exhaust comes out in sort of narrow slats on the sides and the back, and the top side has mesh for its own radial fans. So for the heat sinks, the reason they've got 4 fans on here is because this is basically a portable desktop. It's not really meant to be used on battery. It does have a 6,200 milliamp hour battery, but it's also got 2 GTX 1070s, an SLI, and a high-end i7 Kaby Lake Gen CPU. So not gonna last very long on battery, but that's okay, it's not meant to. So for the cooling solution, you got all the fans connected. There are several heat pipes connected to 2 cold plates, I think copper cold plates for the GPUs, I think a copper cold plate for the CPU. The PCH is under its own heatsink, I think, but we'll talk about that more in a second. As for the heat pipes, there's a couple 8 mils, so 1 8 mil for each of the radial fans on the back side, and then a couple of 6 mil pipes opposing those. Actually, this may be the chipset over here with a pipe going to it as well. So the reason I'm talking about the chipset is because technically you could maybe try to make RAID work with M2 SSDs. Doing that in a laptop with actual high sustained reads and writes, I'm not so sure how it does thermally, but so they're not officially recommending it, but you could try. For memory, you'll notice that because of the size of the laptop, there are actually 4 SODIMM slots, and I think from what I've been told, you can run up to 64 gigabytes. So if you wanted an insane mobile editing rig or something, you could do that. That covers most of the core components. I believe this is one of the thinnest, if not the thinnest, high-end gaming laptop in terms of the actual performance, power output versus the form factor. And I will have B-roll shots of it. You can see it's pretty small. One more thing here, the keyboard has a mechanical feel. I don't know who makes the switches, but they've been referred to as like browns, basically. It's not a cherry brown switch, but it does kind of have a feel more like a Romer G or a damped brown, like on the G710, as far as I'm concerned. But that's all we know about the keyboard for now. So that's the X9, and this particular unit I think is $3,700. It's up there. It's getting towards $4,000. The display is a 4K display. They also have 1440p, which they're calling 3K sometimes, but it's the same thing. So 4K panel, 60 hertz, and that about covers it. So thank you for watching. As always, you can subscribe for more CES coverage. Patreon.com/GamersNexus to help us out directly, and Paul's channel will be in the description below. I'll see you next time.